You are listening to the Disney Dream Girls, an unofficial Disney Theme Packs podcast, and this is show number 487 for the 21st of January 2024.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to this week's Disney Dream Girls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my jolly good chum Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Hello there, Jane.
Hello there, Michelle. I'm just thinking it's quite nice that we're talking about warm places and, you know, Disney and Florida and places like that because it's blooming freezing over here at the moment.
Well, I don't know about that because they've just come out of a
true.
tornado warning.
Yeah, weather's very strange.
Little bit chilly on my house blowing away. I know what I would prefer, although one does involve getting the obligatory ruby red slippers.
Ah, yes, now there you go.
Nice little nod to one of my favourite films. I haven't seen it for a while. I'm saving it up. I have got a very, very full inventory of all the films I want to watch post-surgery so that I can get myself all snug on the old sofa or in bed if I am still not able to mobilise, so that I can sort of binge watch all my favourites. I'm very, very excited. It's the one thing that's getting me through the idea of being on a liquid diet for so long is, watching exciting films like Wizard of Oz. I still have my favourite Christmas classic I didn't watch this year.
Which is?
Your favourite Christmas classic that you watched.
It's a Wonderful Life.
I missed it this year because I missed my Christmas film prep because guess where I was?
Oh, yeah, you weren't in this country, were you, Michelle? Can't think where it was that you were.
Well, to be honest, looking at the weather at the time, I should have been in California because it was sunny, and I have over in California my lovely friends, the Allisons, who I could have spent time with, but alas, I was on the other coast. I was in the lovely Florida, and we decided to start our trip on the 16th of December with deluge of rain. I am sorry, Floridians, it was my fault. I packed the rain clouds in my case and they came over with me. Sorry.
Yeah, I must admit, it's been very strange recently watching various vlogs from Disney World and seeing everybody in jeans and wearing jackets and things. It's quite peculiar, really.
Although, Jane, I will admit, listeners, I am known as a bit of a bonkers person with fashion at work because it's only recently I stopped wearing my sandals, and that was at the point when the temperature sort of dipped below 30 degrees Fahrenheit. At that point I thought, maybe it's not sandal wearing weather anymore. Maybe I need to put the Doc Martin sandals away in the cupboard and grab out the Doc Martin boots instead.
Yeah, no shoes in between, sandals to boots.
Yeah, I don't really like shoes, Jane. They're so constricting. I really do prefer a nice sturdy sole if I'm going to be wearing a clobber around place type of shoe thing.
No, very sensible. And especially as a teacher, when you're on your feet all day, Michelle, you need something nice and comfy.
Oh, I wish I could be on my feet all day. Unfortunately, my risk assessment says I can teach from seated position.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but no, big advert there for Doc Martens at the moment with our weather being, I don't know whether you're a Fahrenheit fan or a centigrade Celsius type of scientist-led person, but at the moment we're ranging between sort of -7 if you're in the Celsius brigade, if you're in the Fahrenheit, about 22 degrees. So it's layering up those Disney layers, Jane. It's the Disney T-shirt, the Disney Spirit jersey, the Disney hoodie, the Disney coat, and then perhaps wearing a Disney-themed scarf.
Yeah, that was me this morning. Disneyland beanie hat, Mickey Mouse scarf, and a Mickey Mouse jumper.
You see, the boof of my hair does not allow hats.
Well, I wasn't venturing out without a hat this morning.
Yeah, well, Disney ears don't really cover your ears, do they?
No.
So if they made sort of like a combo ear muff type thing with Disney ears on the top.
Ooh, now there's something we could patent, Michelle.
It's our idea, Disney, don't steal it.
Yeah, we said it first.
Ours. Although I said things about Snow White afternoon tea and then morphed it into a dinner. So, still bitter about that one. Anyway, many eons ago, we were going to talk about my trip that I had all the way back in December, because we've not physically met to have a chin wag about it, have we?
We haven't, not yet, no.
So there's a few takeaways that I want to sort of share that possibly will help you guys when you're planning your Walt Disney World trip to bear in mind. And I've got them into the important headings of what's the most important thing when you go to Walt Disney World, and it is the food.
Yes, very important aspect.
Absolutely. Now, I am a big Excel spreadsheet kind of person. I like to schedule in 60 days my advanced dining reservations so I know where I'm going to eat. However, the impact of my gastro issues has meant there was going to be very little dining because, unfortunately, food is not my friend right now.
Having to be careful.
So I had to say goodbye to beaches and cream with a tear in my eye.
No.
No ice cream. No chocolate fudge sauce. Sorry, I'll compose myself. So we had to be very, very tactful about where we were going to eat, because Tom was taking on board that certain places for me mean certain foods, and he didn't want me too distressed. So we sort of narrowed it down to literally we had 2 advanced dining reservations, Jen.
Wow, that is unusual for you, Michelle.
So to get on my list, you had to be good.
Well, I would think so. If you're going to only have 2, they've got to be the right 2.
Absolutely. So the very last day of our trip, I know it's the last day of our trip, but I wanted to end our trip on a high, and also bearing in mind that we had to check out of our hotel room at 11 a.m, but we weren't going to be picked up by Mia's to go to the airport till 6 p.m. for a 10 o'clock flight. So we wanted to have a hearty breakfast and then get in and have some park time, make some memories, and then have the tearful meander back to the pickup point back at the Dolphin.
Yeah.
So I chose a place I had been fortunate enough to eat at before, which was over at the Ale and Compass.
Ah, we've talked about it here before, haven't we?
We have. If you remember rightly, I have had dinner here. And again, I spent all the money because I only had a bowl of soup last time. So, guys, take me out for dinner. It will not cost you very much at all. Literally, I eat the size of the palm of my hand. So we decided to have this meal on the last day, and we're going to eat at the Ale and Compass restaurant. And they do 2 options for you. You can either have their breakfast buffet, or you can either order a la carte.
Okay, right.
Now, we looked at the menu, and the most expensive thing on the menu was going to be $19.
Right.
If you ordered the breakfast buffet, it's $23, but that includes any entree, a visit or 2 to the buffet to get any of the seasonal fruit, the parfaits, the yogurts, the pastries, granola, there was some cheddar cheese biscuits, country gravy, warm cinnamon rolls, and juices. So we felt for that difference in the price point, it was worth going for the breakfast buffet option.
Well, yes, because if you pick out your most expensive entree at, $19 or whatever, then $4 is covering the rest.
Absolutely, yeah.
That sounds like goodbye.
We sat ourselves down, or the hostess sat us down, and we decided what we were going to do. And me, being a gobby Yorkshire girl, peered over at the couple's table next to us and said, "Excuse me, I've noticed you've had pancakes. Can you tell me what pancakes you've had, and were they very good?" Because, sometimes I like to see the food before I order the food. I'm a visual eater.
No, I can appreciate that, yeah.
The pancakes they had at this time were pumpkin.
Ooh.
Now, normally you can get a range of pancakes there. They have the chocolate chip, they have the blueberry, they have plain, and then they do a seasonal. And I thought, do you know what? I have never had pumpkin pancakes before. So I thought, I think I'm going to go with that option. And your pancake came with a choice of, this is where my stomach began to turn, sausage, bacon or fresh fruit.
Okay, yeah.
So I ordered that. My husband, he wanted to have the American breakfast, so that was 2 eggs of any style, sausage or bacon, served with potatoes. And it was quite a generous portion as well. Bearing in mind we'd been and got some pastries and had some bits and pieces from the buffet. We had our beverages and then we had our meal. Well, they brought out the hugest monstrosity of pancakes ever. These pancakes were, I am not exaggerating, everybody, when I was saying they are possibly, I'm picking up my ruler for effect here to get the right sort of measure. They were probably 15 centimetres in diameter. That's a big pancake.
That's a good size, yeah.
On my fluffometer, they were approximately about 2 centimetres in height. So they were incredibly fluffy and light. They had this wonderful butter on top, which had just oozed and melted. They were delicious. It was light and cinnamony. They were delicious. I could only eat one. And I gave it a good go at eating that one as well. And then Tom polished them off. But they were so good. Really good. But on the menu they had something else that, you know, you could have had the dark chocolate waffle with a dried cherry compote, espresso mascarpone cream, chocolate shavings, and again sausage and bacon. It seems to me at the Ale and Compass, whatever you have, it comes with sausage or bacon.
Yeah, well, we've talked about this before. This is a very weird one for us Brits, isn't it? Because it's mixing sweet with savoury, and it's not something we traditionally do.
But the menu is great. The service was fantastic. It was convenient because we just had a little walk over from the Dolphin to the yacht club.
Of course, yeah.
We were in and out within about 50 minutes and we were able to get ourselves over to the bus stop at the yacht club and we went straight to the Magic Kingdom.
Very nice.
Ideal. Absolutely ideal. And as I spoke about before, with the Dolphin, there was those little glitches with regards to transportation, but quite frequently we walked to the yacht club and used their bus stop there because it was a little bit better, especially for the Magic Kingdom, because we didn't have to go via the TTC.
Yes, of course, nice little hack.
So that is going to be the one place I highly recommend you consider for your Walt Disney World vacation, whether it be a special breakfast or just a nice breakfast before you go into the park. I feel that the value, it came with tax and tip round about $60-ish. I felt there was value there. We both left full and it was tasty and unusual with the difference of the flavouring of the pancakes.
And one of your favourite flavours as well, Michelle. That was good timing.
I know, it was amazing. So another place I wanted to talk about, which was a fantastic find for our breakfasts, because you know what it's like. We leave the hotel room at something ridiculous like 7:30 in the morning. We've probably had in our room a little bit of porridge because I took some of those porridge pots and we used the hot water in the coffee machine. And by the time we'd got to Magic Kingdom, the tummy monster was saying, feed me, feed me. So you know what it's like and you just want some carbs to help you through the day. I'm sorry, Jane, but on a theme park day, carbs do help.
Well, yeah, and at least you're moving around, you're walking a lot, so you're going to burn them off as well.
The best value breakfast you can find in any Disney park is the sausage and gravy tots.
Ah, yes.
A lovely little tray of freshly fried, sort of like potato barrels, and then this sausage gravy, which basically reminded me of Campbell's soup.
Oh, okay.
And it was delish. There was so much there for my little tumster that I had to give a lot of mine over to Tom. And it cost us $5.79.
Is that Friar's Nook, that one, Michelle?
It is.
Wow, yeah. Good value.
Absolutely. The breakfast sandwich, sausage, egg, cheddar on a pretzel bun, again with a side of tots. That side of tots is smaller than the snack version that I got, but again, that's under $10.
Yeah, all good prices.
Now, later in the day, the menu changes up, but you can still get your tots.
Ah.
You can get a serving of tots now with cheese sauce for $5.29.
Okay.
So if you get into the park and it's just after 11ish and you're still wanting your tater tots, you can still get them, because you can go to Friar Nucks and get these and be quite full in the tummy. We tried a few things there. They have a creamy bacon and mac and cheese, and then you can have that with the tater tots. Carbolicious. Really, really enjoyed that, and we ate there quite a few times because that's all I sort of could manage, really, to be honest.
Yeah, plus obviously you were going out there with an intent to be careful on the old monetary side of things as well, weren't you?
I will just say, Jane, I set myself a limit of $30 on my food menus a day. That was my food budget, and I ate within that every single day.
There you go. Can be done.
The thing that did top it over the budget a little bit on, or pushed it a little bit, should I say, is when I made a visit to Starbucks, because the coffees there are getting quite pricey.
Yeah, and I suppose that the more fancier a coffee you want, the bigger the price ticket is going to be, isn't it?
Yeah, you're looking at about $6.50 for a coffee plus all the bits and pieces. But I still worked around it. You know, one particular day, which was our first day in the park, I started with the tots and sausage gravy. I had a coffee, and then we went to the Polynesian and we shared a serving of the bread pudding that I got from Kona Cafe on their mobile order, so we just ate it in the lobby. That was $13.87, and that's all I had that day.
Yeah.
So that is well within my money.
Definitely, yeah.
So, yeah, highly recommend it. So,
cool.
The biggie of the trip was going to go into Space 220, and I suppose I can say with this is third time unlucky.
Unlucky, oh dear.
Well, we've previously booked this on previous trips, and I've always cancelled it because of the price point.
Yeah.
I got a lounge reservation because I personally feel a 2-course meal for $55, then I've got tax, then I've got tip, then I've got a beverage on top of that, is a little bit out of my budget. I'll be honest, I feel that price point is just so expensive.
Yeah, and this is one of those restaurants, I suppose, you're going to more for the aesthetic that's been created in there than necessarily the food as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. So Shelley, being a little bit conscious of her old pounds and pence, or dollars and cents, thought, well, I'll tell you what, I'll go to the lounge. So we got the reservation, and we arrived, and we sort of went to the podium, and they checked us in, and we went round the corner, and I was given a boarding card. And then when our boarding group was called, we went into this sort of spherical lift area with the donut hole in the middle, so we could look down to see the Earth disappearing, or we could look up to see the space station beckoning. That was a nice touch to sort of bridge us away from that part of the theme park into a new realm.
Yes, yeah.
And then we walked through, we saw the famous rotating plastic vegetables.
Yeah.
And we were guided into a table.
Right.
At this point, I suddenly started to feel a little bit bad because I had no intention of ordering any food whatsoever. I had booked a lounge seat. I was expecting to sit at the bar.
That's what I would have thought as well,
so
yeah.
Immediately I started feeling really bad for our server because the poor guy was not going to get a vast quantity of tips out of us. All we had done is made that reservation because we wanted the experience, and we probably would have got a light bite and a beverage.
Yeah. Which you would expect by having a lounge reservation, yeah.
Yeah. So he brought us out the full menu, and I just said to her, I said, oh, I don't know if it's been a mistake, but we made a lounge reservation, we just want to order drinks. And I just feel the poor guy, he lives for his tips, but hey ho. So anyway, it turned out that all of the drinks on the menu I didn't really sort of gel with, because there was something in each of them that wasn't to me, that would set me off being poorly. And I can't drink soda, so that was out. And I thought, well, I'm not paying £12 for a highly sort of sugary, non-alcoholic beverage that'd probably make my symptoms quite bad and make me ill for the rest of the day. So Tom just took one for the team, and he ordered a margarita, which ended up being $18 plus tax and tip. And it was a tequila, watermelon, lime sour, and a salted lime foam. And he sipped it and he said, oh my word, this is so sweet.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't a big fan of it, but we drank it. We apologised to the server and said, look, we're just going to go, because I don't want to hog your table. I want you to be able to turn it and get people in that actually want to eat on it. I'm really sorry. So we left. Would I want to go and eat there? Not when it's a set menu.
No, and it's a shame that for some whatever reason that, you know, you were seated incorrectly, or that the booking hadn't been processed correctly. Because as you say, to go up and have a bit of a light bite and maybe a drink is kind of all you really wanted to do, and just to see what all the fuss was about with regards to the windows and the space outside and the lift experience, etc. So, yeah, and like you say, that set menu, yeah.
I do feel, particularly for the dinner option as well, it's all about the upcharge. What extra can they make from your reservation? The dinner pricing was $79 for an appetizer, an entree and a dessert. But on the entrees, you had options of adding shrimp, $50, add half a lobster,
wow.
$18. So there were things that you could upcharge. And if you wanted a 24-ounce bone-in ribeye, extra $20. So there were all of these tantalising options. You could have quite easily have spent a lot of money, you know, working
without
out.
really trying, yeah.
Quite easily, if I would have gone there and had the 3-course meal, had a beverage or two, you would have been looking at probably spending in the region of $110 per person.
Ouch.
And looking around at the food and the service and the pricing, for me, I didn't see the value. I'd rather go somewhere that I knew, possibly out of the theme park, but still within a Disney realm, so I still was in that bubble, somewhere like Flying Fish, where I would have probably got a better deal.
Yes, yeah. No, I can see where you're coming from.
Next place, Jane.
Yes, where was next?
This was another thing that we decided to do later in our trip, and I highly, highly encourage people to do this when they're on their Magic Kingdom days. Because for me, eating in the Magic Kingdom can be a hit and miss affair. Some of the in-park dining isn't really great. So how wonderful is it when it strikes 1 o'clock, you walk out of the park and you go on one of the boats and you have a lovely little boat ride over to the Wilderness Lodge.
Ah, nice, yeah.
You can enjoy walking around the resort. Their gift shop is phenomenal. I love it there. You can look by the pool, look by the geyser, have a great look around, spend some time looking at the beautiful carvings that are there. You can walk down to the DVC bit and see the Carolwood Pacific area, which we've talked about on the podcast before, when our good friend Jim Corcus, rest in peace, the lovely Jim, spent some time touring me around the exhibits there as well. So you could quite easily spend 90 minutes without even batting an eyelid, and you haven't even had any food yet.
Very true. So where did you decide to eat here then?
Well, it was a tricky call, Jane, to be honest, because those of you who know me quite well know that the Wilderness Lodge holds a special place in my heart. We had our wedding type reception meal there over at Geyser Grill, and I love that place. But there was something really tempting us on the menu at the Roaring Fork.
Oh, okay. What was that?
Well, They had something called barbecue brisket and burnt ends.
Mm-hmm.
And it came with a potato hash, fiery coleslaw and cornbread. Well, I'm a little bit of a weirdie, Jane. I don't like fiery things, I don't like cornbread, and I don't like potato hash. So I was having a lovely chat with a wonderful lady at the till that I had to go and order the food with. And she quite happily said, well, would you like it with mashed potato and green beans? And I said, oh my word, yes, please.
Oh, that's lovely.
So I ordered that.
Yeah.
And Tom ordered the 10-hour smoked pulled pork sandwich. And he had that with mashed potato and green beans as well.
Oh, lovely. Nice.
And the meal came to, I think it was about, with his soda, just under $30. And I'm not kidding, that barbecue brisket and burnt ends could have fed 3 people. It was humongous. There was literally a mountain of mash. Have you ever seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
I have.
And he makes that mashed potato replica. You know what I'm talking about, guys?
I do indeed, yes, yes.
I could have done that with the mashed potato.
Did you not? Did you not play with your food, Michelle?
There were people living in this mashed potato. It was such a large portion, Jane. It was huge. And then I had a little sort of like, you could sort of stick the green beans around the edge of the mashed potato and make a fence. And then on the top you could have the burnt ends, and it was a lovely artwork.
I'm sure it was, Michelle.
But for you, who are, you know, very keto focused, you would have been able to swap out the potato wedge for something else, I am sure, on the menu to make it more in line. But the brisket and the burnt ends were just delicious.
Good.
I can't heavily say anything more than that apart from go. They have a range of different salads that are all tossed freshly and served to you. You can either eat them outside on the little terrace. You can eat them in the restaurant itself, which was very quiet for a quick service. There was nobody in there.
Yeah, I have to say, when we stayed at the Wilderness Lodge, I loved having breakfast at Roaring Fork and just sitting outside in the sunshine. It was beautiful, lovely experience.
And another top tip, if you fancy getting there for breakfast, they have something called the Grizzly Bear Claw.
Okay.
Now, this is totally different to the Nutella-driven one that sometimes pops up at Westward Ho in the Magic Kingdom. This is literally filled with mixed nuts and raisin and sugary sweet syrupy goodness and pastry.
Nice.
And you know when we say that if food's as big as your face, it's worth eating?
We do, yes.
This was humongous. Literally, a family of 4 could feast on this for 7 months. And it's in this little case, which is heated alongside their humongous blueberry cinnamon roll. And you can only get these things at the Roaring Fork. Amazing. Yeah. They were huge. Anyway, we didn't have breakfast there, but there just happened to be one left. And I was like, maybe if I've got room. Yeah, I didn't have room after my mountain of meat and potatoes. But we had the food. Then we had a little meander around the resort.
Yeah.
Looked at some of our favourite bits, took some pictures, sat in a rocking chair by the fire.
Nice.
Chilled on the sofas. And then we walked back down to the boat dock, got on a boat and went back to the Magic Kingdom. And we felt like we'd had 2 hours sleep, because we were refreshed, invigorated and ready to move on.
That's the classic approach that you can take to a day in the theme parks, isn't it? By just taking that little bit of time to step away, whether it's a wander around a resort or whether it's going to eat out of the park, and so you might get something that's better and better value outside of the park, and then you go back into the park all refreshed.
How many times have you been in Pecos Bills and done that lap looking to catch eyes with a couple or a family that were about to leave because they were putting their things on the plate to try and scooch in and get their table?
Yeah.
There was barely anyone there, Jane.
I'm going to say that element of moving away, going somewhere different, somewhere in an environment that's not the hustle and bustle, that's quieter, that's more chilled out, that's more relaxing. and just to get that bit of a recharge for the remainder of the day.
Absolutely. And I really did feel we benefited from it, and we were able to stay at the park later. Meanwhile, everyone else was having their little battles to get their quick service lunch. We were on the attractions, and we were able to use our time effectively, getting in the park early, getting on the attractions, having our little break, whether we went to the Wilderness Lodge or a monorail resort, and then meandering back again.
Yeah, and that's sometimes the thing, isn't it? If you eat your lunches as well at different times, or your meals at different times, it may well mean that you can get on, rides that have got less queues because everybody's eating the lunch or whatever. So there's those little hacks that come into choosing when to eat, so that you're not avoiding either the crowds in the restaurants where you're choosing to spend the day, or by tweaking those eating times and actually being able to access rides when the vast majority are going for the traditional eating at lunch or eating at dinner time.
Yeah, completely. Absolute massive top tip. So, the trip report will continue at a later date, but I just wanted to share some foodie goodness that maybe are places that you've not personally considered. How about you? Do you have any gems to share with us? Any places that on your last trip you found and found it to be just one of those places off the beaten track that have these amazing values for the money that you're prepared to pay? Let us know. info@disneydreamgirls.com. We are also quite active sharing pictures in our Disney driven life over on Instagram @DisDreamGirls, and you can find Jane's personal Instagram @JanePhipps, where she shares everything that she's up to with regards to, well, it could be anything from jigsaws to Mandalorian and Star Warsy, or having a meander down and a nice walk and a cup of coffee to reward herself.
All sorts on mine, all sorts.
If you want to hear more from us, get the show earlier than anywhere else, plus receive extra audio content, i.e. I have recently recorded and released with Jane a full review of Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, which is exclusive to our Patreon supporters. It's patreon.com/Disney Dream Girls. Dropping a few dollars our way keeps our show advert free, so that when you listen, you just get us wittering on rather than hearing an advert for somebody who'll come and fix your tyres. So that's one way of saying, perhaps if you've enjoyed our show, instead of maybe buying that latte on the way to work, you might want to consider visiting Patreon.
Yeah, we'd appreciate it.
You can also find us on our website, DisneyDreamGirls.com, where we share a little bit more, a little bit of pictures and things like that. Anyway, until next time, it's a goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.